How can we use figurative language to engage a reader? Let's start with similes. Similes use the words as or like to compare one thing to another. These help the reader to get a clear picture in their head of what is being described and what it is like. Marcy ran over the Sphinx like the wind. This compares Marcy's running to the wind, suggesting that she ran very fast over the top of the Sphinx. Spotted from afar, the ship looked like a shooting star. This compares the ship which was floating in the sky to a shooting star, which also floats in the sky. Similes can work effectively if they appeal to the senses of the reader: sound, smell, sight, taste and touch. Spotted from afar, the ship looked like a shooting star appeals to the reader's sense of sight, as it's something they can see. Here's another example. The magical plants of Isis smelt as sweet as sugar. This compares the smell of the plants to sugar. This appeals to the reader's sense of smell, as sugar smells sweet, suggesting that the plants do too. And let's look at one more. The snoring of the cat god played a rhythm as quick as Marcy's footsteps. This compares the noise of the cat god snoring to the speed of Marcy's footsteps. Marcy is running, so we know that she can hear the god breathing fast while sleeping. We will now look at another type of figurative language called metaphors. A metaphor is when we say that one thing is actually another. Again, it helps the reader to get a clear picture in their head of what is being described, and even though we are saying one thing is something else, we are still using the metaphor to compare. Let's have a look at some examples. Marcy has to step up to the plate to save her father. This doesn't mean that Marcy has to step up to a plate to save her father. It actually means that she has to take strong actions to save her father, even though the quest is difficult. Thoth's heart was black. This doesn't mean that Thoth's heart was actually black. It is a metaphor to describe that he's not very loving and not a very kind character either. Marcy had to wrap her head around Thoth's demands. This does not mean that Marcy is going to get her head and wrap it around something. It is a metaphor to explain that Marcy needs to try and understand what Thoth is asking her to do. And finally, let's look at one more metaphor. As Marcy moved through the ship, she was careful not to get caught red-handed. This does not mean that Marcy's hands are actually red. It is a metaphor to suggest that Marcy is worried she may be caught walking through the ship, which is somewhere she shouldn't be.